Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai.
We first talk about energy. 4 kinds of energy. First is energy of thought, Vichar Shakti. And we know the speed of thought. Very famous person wrote a business at the speed of thought. So the speed of thought is very fast. So energy which goes into the making of thought. Then comes energy which is emotional energy. And emotional energy will be finer than thought. It will work at double the speed of thought. Emotional energy will be spatial, in the sense it will not be digital. The energy of thought will be digital, you can have one at a time. So when we are working from the brain, we can only do one thing at a time, we can't do many things at the same time. But when we are working from the heart, we can do many things at the same time. The energy is spatial, it encompasses. So, energy of thought, energy of emotion, which doubles the speed of thought. Then comes energy of sex, which is double the speed of emotion. The whole of life depends on sex energy, the polarities of attraction and repulsion. If I go to a shop, I say I like this, but I like this is an emotion. Before I have liked this, somewhere I have been attracted to it. That attraction has happened before I can say I like this. It has happened at very, very fast speeds. So this basic human law of life, of attraction and repulsion, that is sex energy. And then the final energy, which is double the speed of even sex energy, is the energy of death, which we want to talk about today. So, when we are talking about death, we are talking, and about sex, we are talking about energies which penetrate time and space. Something is lying in some invisible dimension. Ek adrashya ayama kaink padelu chhe. And the energy of sex is such that it allows that which is in an invisible dimension to manifest in a seen dimension where it can be seen by the 5 senses. Similarly, the energy of death breaks down something in this dimension and throws it into some other dimension of time and space. So we are talking about very, very fast energies over here, which our consciousness as it is not trained to experience, not trained to see. We cannot control our thoughts even for a few seconds. We cannot hold one thought. We are victims of emotional reactions all the time. So, we are talking about very slow energies compared to the energies of death. Death is a tremendously powerful energy. When you see the photos of an atomic explosion, the photos of Hiroshima, and you see that mushroom of atomic power which has come out of the atom bomb. When you see old classical paintings of a saint rising to heaven, you will see the same formation in those paintings. There's something about death, the power of death, which is akin to atomic power. So today we'll talk about it. I just want to say that what I'm saying is something which everyone has to use as a basis for inquiry. Don't start asking me that what proof do you have of this and what proof do you have of that. I'm just putting some things in front of you. Use it as a basis of inquiry. Don't say that it is right or wrong or anything, but say I'll find out for myself what is the truth in what is being said. Now the first thing about death is there are three kinds of death: involuntary, voluntary, and conscious. For us, the first thing is, can we make death voluntary, not involuntary? But that depends a lot in life on how we take suffering. If in life suffering is involuntary, then we don't want to die. Then we cannot make death voluntary. Swechik ke aswechik. So what is our attitude towards suffering? How do we take suffering in life? Are we always on the watch out to avoid suffering? Is our only aim in life to find more comfort and to run away from suffering, so no suffering or no pain comes in our life? Then it will be very difficult to make death voluntary. So the practice for a voluntary death is to make involuntary suffering voluntary. Don't look for suffering. You don't have to go to an ashram or sleep on a bed or nails or fast for so many days. You don't have to do all that. Just our normal life has enough of suffering. Right? The prices of petrol go up, etc. So there's enough of suffering in life. We don't have to look for suffering. But the minute suffering comes, the first thing is don't complain. If we complain, jo faryad nikadi gyu, then that suffering which we could have made voluntary, we make it involuntary. We don't want it. So the first step to make suffering voluntary is to be free of complaining. The first day we talked about complaining. So just see every day, okay, where did I complain today? And we complain about small things. And we have to change that. We have to work upon that. Then a point comes where suffering then becomes voluntary. Maybe one day suffering can become conscious. But conscious suffering is a totally different dimension of living. It's a totally different way of living. So the first thing is to make death voluntary. Can we make death voluntary? Now, the second point I'll talk about is consciousness. I'll talk about it a little later. We'll first talk about what is happening at the moment of death. And many things will start happening at the moment of death. There are certain symptoms of death, and they will start coming in waves. They will come and they will go. They will come and they will go. Just as when a woman is going to give birth to a child, the labor pain comes in waves. She goes to the doctor and the doctor says, okay, the pain is there, but there's still a couple of more hours. And the doctor goes away and says, I'm coming after 3-4 hours. Right? Because the doctor knows that the pains have not come to that intensity that the child is just about to be born. Similarly, the symptoms of death, they come in waves. We will look at those symptoms and why they come, what they mean, and how can we predict our own death looking at the symptoms. They come, they go away, and they come again and they go away. We may feel many things at the point of death. We may feel that we are perspiring and feeling cold at the same time. We may start trembling. We may see different pictures, different visions. Just as we are about to leave one plane of existence and move into another plane of existence, that plane of existence where we are going to go is more eager to meet us. And certain symptoms, certain indications from that plane we will start feeling even before death in this plane. And we will be able to hear them, we will be able to see them, we will be able to feel them. So I'll talk about these symptoms. Now, as death comes nearer, the gap between two waves of symptoms will reduce. Just as when a woman is about to give birth to the child, the gap between two waves of pain starts reducing. And at one point the pain is so much that the doctor says, now we are ready to take her into the operation room, right? So, similarly, at the verge of death, the gap between two symptoms starts decreasing, and the final symptom that now I am going to die, is a feeling of absence. And that is, I forget my own name. I forget my own name, because I'm going to leave that name over here and go somewhere. So the final indication is that I try to remember my name, but I cannot remember my name. This is the moment, and we should be ready at that moment to go. Right? Don't try to remember your name, it's of no use. Right? Okay. Now, why do these symptoms come? What happens? What is happening? So, at the point of death, we are grounded in the five elements. I can't find a proper English word, so I'll use Gujarati. Apne પાંચ તત્વથી સંસ્કારિત છે. We are patterned in the form of the five elements. એટલે પાંચ તત્વના સંસ્કાર અંદર છે. These five elements have loaned their properties to us for a certain life. It has been loaned to us. એક ઉધાર આપણને આપ્યું છે. And those five elements are now saying that we take our properties back. We want to take our properties back. So, now we must understand that because of this, so many things will start happening at the moment of death, as death approaches. And these symptoms we will talk about is, they are connected to the five elements, the Panch Tattva. The first is Prithvi. The earth element. And the earth element gives support. Gives support. So, I may be lying on my bed. Maybe death is still a couple of hours away. It is not yet there. It may be 2 days away, a couple of hours away. But I am lying on the bed, and suddenly I feel that there is no bed. The support has been taken away. Nobody has taken the bed away. The bed is there only, but I get a momentary feeling that nothing is supporting me. Right? So I know that Prithvi Tattva, the element earth, is now taking its sanskar, its property back into itself. I am going to be free of that element. I may not feel that somebody has taken away the bed. I may feel something else also. I may feel that I am feeling alone. Somebody support me. Somebody help me. Somebody support me. Not physical support, but psychological support. That is also Prithvi Tattva. That is also the earth element. So again, just pause for a minute, feel it, and remember that it is the Prithvi Tattva is taking away its state. It will happen for a fraction of a second, or maybe a second or two, and again I will say, I'm lying on the bed. For a moment I felt, and we will forget about it. We won't realize that this is one of the first indications that death is now coming close. The second is the water element. And when the water element takes away its thing, I will suddenly start feeling very hot. I will suddenly start feeling as if I've got a hot flush. I don't know if males have hot flushes or not, right? But there must be times when the blood pressure rises or something, right? Or blood pressure falls, right? But I'll feel as if a heat wave has gone through me. The water element is drying up. I'm feeling very thirsty. Somebody give me a glass of water to drink. It's not that I'm feeling thirsty, but the water element is drying up. You'll feel the juices of the body are drying up. And because the juices of the body are drying up, it is these juices which give us the enjoyment of life. You see, when a fruit is ripe on the tree, what happens? It suddenly is filled with juice. It is filled with juice. But when the fruit is not ripe, there is still not enough of juice in that. Similarly, at this point, the water element is pulling back everything. We'll suddenly feel that life is meaningless. That we are feeling that life is meaningless. It has no meaning. Now I don't enjoy anything in life. So the juice is being pulled away. I may start trembling also, even though I'm feeling very hot. And then the next is the heat, the fire element. And the fire element, when it starts taking away, the first thing I'll feel is very, very cold. I'll feel cold and I may be perspiring at the same time. So all this will be happening together and it will come in a wave. There may be many people who love me or like me, my friends, my relatives, whatever, family standing around me, and suddenly when the fire element is taken away, at that moment I may feel I can't see anyone, because fire gives us form, it gives us roop. So I'll say, I become blind. Nothing to get frightened about. Nothing to get frightened about. This is just a symptom. And suddenly we will start seeing everyone again. Right? And next will be, we won't feel any sensation. We won't feel any sensation. The hand may be there, but we will not feel the hand. You say, where's my hand gone? There's no sensation. There's no touch. Suddenly the feeling of touch has gone away. I can't touch anything. I'm feeling empty inside. The wind element, Vayu, is now going away. And now with these, certain things may happen. And one is, there may be magnification of what I have asked for. It magnifies. Because what happens is, at the point of death, all my patterns, all my sanskars, they group together. and they become different drops of water. They squeeze out into different drops of, like thousands of flowers get together to make one drop of perfume. Right? Now I may have complained in small things. If he has put this bottle over here like this, I'll say, he has no sense, he should have put it properly like this. Right? Okay. So I may be complaining about small things in life. And that complaining goes on from morning to evening. Now suddenly at the moment of that, all that death, all that complaining will get together and make one drop. And suddenly I may see some form, I may see something in some intensity. It is nothing, it is just what I have done throughout my life. It is taking a form, it is all arranging itself. So all my anger will arrange into one drop, it will take some form, all my complaining will arrange into some form, and all these forms I will start seeing at that time, and I'll be wondering, what is all this? It is nothing. In dreams we see them every day. So don't worry about all this. And finally the Akash element will go away, and when the Akash element goes away, we feel very dark inside, gloomy inside. We'll feel like a dark cloud has descended. Now these symptoms will come in waves. They will go away, again they will come, again they will go away, again they will come and go away. And as death approaches, the symptoms will intensify, and we will know now the moment of death is coming close. Now, as the moment of death comes, there will be a deep pulling within us. Something is going to, the energies are going to come together, because something has to be thrown out into another time and space. Something has to be thrown out. Now before I talk about that, as these symptoms come, which we were talking about, something from that world will try to meet me. So if the Akash Tattva is going on one side, and Akash also means sound, so I may feel that I cannot hear anything. Suddenly, like I felt I was blinded, I may feel that I become deaf. Similarly, at the same side, something from that shore, something from that shore will try to reach me, and I may hear some bells ringing, some divine bells ringing, or I may hear the flow of beautiful divine waterfall or something of that sort. And that is what helps me to get through this. So just as this world is trying to leave me, that world will also try to reach to me before I enter into that world. And each of the elements of this world will go away, and something from that world will try to reach to me. I may see different lights, I may see different forms which are very beautiful, so it will bring me peace, it will bring me some kind of comfort. Right? Okay. Now at the point of death, something will be pulled, like a bow. We put an arrow on the bow and we are pulling the bow. The arrow is us. We are the arrow. We are the arrow. And the bow which is being pulled is the bow of the Sushumna. I'll talk about the Sushumna. The Sushumna is the backbone. The backbone is a nadi, Sushumna nadi. It is like the coaxial cable of the TV. So the coaxial cable of the TV, it has one outer layer, a thin outer layer made of copper. Within the plastic layer, a thin outer layer made of copper or some kind of netting kind of thing. Then a thick inner layer which is silvery in color, a thick inner layer, and one very thin strand within the thick layer. So if we see this TV cable, it's something like that. Similarly, our Sushumna is like the TV cable. The outer layer is a nadi, the thin netting is a nadi called the Vajra nadi. Everything in our life is controlled by this Vajra nadi. When the Guru is teaching the disciple to control the Vajra nadi, he teaches him Vajroli, but the Vajroli in the yoga books is just the physical Vajroli. Later the Guru teaches the disciple the psychic Vajroli, to hold the Vajra nadi. And that is why the disciple at one point of time is able to control the events in his life, because all our life is controlled by the Vajra nadi. That is why I tell people that please look after your backbone, please look after your backbone. We do the third exercise, because that backbone is going to decide whether we are going to be happy or sad or what is going to happen in our life. And the thing about today's education is that when you go to teach exercises in schools and you go to the 8th standard and 9th standard, because of so much of the weight of education, I don't know here, but in India, the amount of you have to study, the backbone has been destroyed. So today's education is really killing the child before he becomes a man. So this Vajra nadi controls everything. Everything in our life happens periodically. It happens in a cycle. We are ruled by the cycles of the planets. And the planets move in cycles. So everything in our life follows the law of the pendulum. Today we are happy, after 1 hour we are sad, again some other news we are happy, again some other news we are sad, and everything goes according to these cycles. Nothing is stable in our life. Nothing continues in our life. And this Vajra nadi controls everything. When a woman is giving birth to a child, all the symptoms are controlled by the Vajra nadi. The other two nadis are very, very deep. We cannot understand what the other two nadis are. The next nadi is the Shushumna nadi, within the Vajra nadi. Once the disciple knows how to move into the Sushumna, to use the Sushumna, then he is suddenly free from this periodicity of life. Then his happiness does not depend on the swing of the pendulum. Whether the pendulum is up or down or whatever happens, he is always happy, because now his life is not controlled by the Vajra nadi, it is controlled by the Sushumna nadi. The third nadi is a very fine nadi which goes up. It enters from here into the central brain cavity, which in yoga is called as the Brahmarandra. It is called as Chitrini. It is a nadi of light, silvery light. And it comes here and it breaks into two parts, entering the Brahmarandra from this side and this side. It is that nadi which is connected with divine sound or parana, not the Omkar we say, but the original Omkar, from which this Omkar which we hear, that parana, the divine sound. Because our life is controlled by the Vajra nadi, and because in life we never work to control the Vajra nadi, we never work to be free of its mechanism, our death is also controlled by the Vajra nadi. So all of us die due to the pulling of the Vajra nadi. Once the arrow comes on the string of the Vajra nadi, once the arrow goes, the arrow cannot come back, it goes. The second thing is, this is a long journey. The arrow is going on a long journey, maybe a journey of 55 days. And there is no petrol pump on the way. So whatever petrol is, that Vajra nadi has been pulled. So whatever force is it goes into the arrow at that time. And it has to use that force right up to the whole journey is over. So, certain things are very important at the point of death, that we don't want to disturb the force of that arrow. We don't want to disturb the force of that arrow. The first thing is, if somebody is dying, and if there are other people crying in the room, then his or her attention will go to them and will want to be here. The arrow is pushing out. I want to be here. I will lose a lot of the initial thrust, the initial speed with which I am going. So please get rid of the people who are holding that person back over here. The second thing is, it is very beautiful not to go to sleep. But the person who is, when we are on the point of death, we will feel like going to sleep. Like when it's snowing very heavily, the best death is to go to sleep in the cold. Right? Beautiful death, go to sleep in the cold. So when it's snowing very heavily, you start feeling sleepy. Cold, you start feeling sleepy. Similarly, at the point of death, the person who is going to die will start feeling sleepy. Now we don't want him to go to sleep. So the first thing, we have got rid of everybody in the room who is going to hold him or her down over here. And the second thing is that we want to talk to that person. And we want to talk in such a way that he is very relaxed, he or she is very relaxed. See, supposing we are going for a long drive, the whole night we have to drive. What do? We put a friend nearby and we say, you talk to me throughout the night so I don't go to sleep. The same thing works over here. Somebody has to talk to that person. Tell him where he is going, what is happening, what he has to do. And in helping that person, he is relaxed. He's not holding himself over here, so the arrow will be thrown at the maximum speed. But even if the friend talks to us, and then even then if we feel sleepy, better to put the car on the side and go to sleep. So in spite of doing anything, if that person wants to go to sleep, then allow him or her to go to sleep, because fighting against sleep again will break the speed of the arrow. So this Sushumna Nadi is being pulled at the moment of death. We will feel a deep pulling inside of us, as if all our energies are concentrating in one space. At the, bottom of the backbone, right? And at the final moment we will forget our name, we will be void of our name, and the arrow will go. It will break through the physical and go out. Now before going further, I will talk a little bit about death in the Sushumna and death in the Chitrini, which is just for us, it is just a dream, because for us death will be only of the Vajra Nadi. The Buddha died in the Sushumna. The story goes that Buddha didn't go out immediately like this. He started going from layer to layer to layer to layer, moving through all the 7 layers of Bhulok, then the 7 layers of Bhuvalok, then the 7 layers of Swahalok, one after the other. He started crossing, falling deeper and deeper into himself. And his cousin, Anand, who lived with him throughout his life, Anand was giving a running commentary, just as we have a running commentary for the cricket match, right? He was giving a running commentary on where Buddha was going, layer by layer, where he was going. And Buddha had turned on his right side and he was falling into death slowly. This we cannot do. It is said one lady, I don't know whether this story is true or not, but it doesn't matter, it tells the quality of Buddha's death. That one lady, she came running and said, okay, I want to ask Buddha a question. I want to ask him a question. My whole life I've been wanting to ask him, but I didn't get the time. Now I want to ask him a question. And Anand said, it is too late. He has already reached this stage. He cannot come back. It is said that Buddha heard that and his compassion was so great that he came back, he got up, he answered the lady's question, again turned on the right side and went into death again. So that is death through the Sushumna Nadi. Then there have been some very rare instances in history of death through the Chitrini Nadi, final Nadi inside. The most well-known of all of them is the death of Kabir. Kabir was already dying, and outside all his disciples had gathered, and his disciples were both Hindus and Muslims, and they were arguing amongst themselves whether we will bury the body or cremate the body, and he had not yet died, and he could hear all this outside. And when they went into the room, they did not find the body of Kabir. They said 2 heaps of flour. Flour means bones. 2 heaps of burnt out bones. Fool, 2 heaps of asti. He had gone into the Chitrini Nadi, created Paranar and destroyed the atoms of his body. But this is a very rare recorded instance. The 2 heaps, one the Hindus took, and that became the Kabir Panthi, and one the Christians, the Muslims took, and that became another sect. I've forgotten the name now of Kabir. But there were 2 sects were born out of Kabir. One was the Hindu sect and one was the Muslim sect, and both took one heap of those bones. So this is death of a different kind. It is unimaginable for us to think of what kind of death, what beauty lies in that death. But for us, at least, we know that the Vajra Nadi is being pulled and the arrow is going to go. Now, when the arrow leaves the bow, the speed is the fastest, and then it keeps getting slower. So now we must understand the interpenetration of time, how time interpenetrates. We think of Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha as some geographical locations. They are not geographical locations. Bhu, the physical, is interpenetrated by the Bhuva, which is the molecular. A gas is molecular, water is molecular, right? So the physical or the cellular is interpenetrated by the molecular. The molecular is interpenetrated by the electronic. Swaha is interpenetrated by the electronic, right? So the molecules have atoms, the atoms have electrons, so the electronic interpenetrates the molecular interpenetrates the physical, they are all one. They are all one. Speeds are fastest in the electronic. Speeds are fastest in the electronic. Now, physical body is left here. The subtle body takes the Atma, the soul takes the Atma, the spirit, and it has to leave the spirit at a certain point, because the spirit does not journey. The spirit only knows to see, only knows to see. It does not know how to do anything. It cannot do. The doer is the soul. The spirit is consciousness. Supposing there is a bright lamp and that lamp gives light to this room, this whole room. The spirit is the filament of that lamp. The spirit is the inner core which gives out the light from that lamp. But the soul of that lamp, the light of that lamp encompasses the whole room. Can you understand what the meaning of consciousness? If this bottle is in the room, then the light encompasses this bottle, the chair, the table, the other furniture. So, for that spirit which the light is its soul, for that state of consciousness, this bottle is within its own body. Am I coming across? This bottle is within that body of light. Similarly for the sun, which sends its light throughout the solar system, we see the sun as separate, but for the sun, the earth is within its light body. The planets are within its light body. In the whole body of the sun, these planets are a part of that body. Similarly for that lamp which is giving consciousness, all the things which are in the room are a part of that body of that lamp, the consciousness. So, this consciousness which expands is called as Brahman. Brahman. The consciousness which expands. At one point, everything in the universe is in that consciousness. It is in that consciousness. Now we just go to this point. Now the first hour after death is the most important. Very, very important. What has happened? What has happened? That all these 5 elements, they are taking back their properties. Now, this inner light or this filament which we call as Atma, within us, that inner light cannot be seen because the globe is covered by something called patterns or sanskar, by dust. The globe is covered by dust. Try to understand this. This is very, very important. So, but what is that dust made of? What is that dust made of? What are those patterns? Supposing it is the dust of anger, the dust of jealousy, whatever it is. What is it made of? In the end, what is it made of? It is made of the 5 elements. It is made of the 5 elements. And suddenly for that fraction of time, the 5 elements are taking everything back. So that filament of light, which is the Atma inside, for all this life, it was covered. I could not see it unless I have done some very deep sadhana and purified or whatever, and I am able to see the light. That is a different matter. But this is no sadhana. So what happens at the moment of death? What happens at the moment of death? You see that the speed is the fastest. The speed is the fastest. So we are not in Bhulok, we are not in Bhuvalok, we are in the highest stage of Swahalok. All the sanskars are not there because all the 5 elements which made the sanskars have gone away, and for that moment the light is open. We are at the supremost peak of human consciousness in Swahalok. We leave the Atma over there and then we start falling. The soul starts falling. I don't know if I've come across in this. So that moment of death is very important, and this state of light, this inner state of light lasts for nearly 1 hour. So the person who has died, we keep on whispering in his ear that you please try to see the light, you please try to see the light. But it's very difficult. We are driving on the highway in the night and a car's big headlights come and I close my eyes. We have not trained ourselves to see light. And then suddenly this, not one but light of 1,000 suns, which Krishna says in the Gita, is the light of 1,000 suns. Very easy for him to say. Right? With this ordinary headlights, we close our eyes. So, this light, I remember one day I was talking with my guru's wife. She lived 12 years after my guru. I think more than 14 years she lived. And one day I was sitting, we were talking, and she said, he came one day to me. So the last night he came. So she said, I saw him in a big ball of light. I said, Mama, aap to band nata kaya hai. Arey yaar, beta, aap band the gaya hamara. I opened them and he was gone. This is what happens. This is what happens. We have to train ourselves. We have to be ready. So we keep on whispering to that guy who's dying, in his ear. This is the most beautiful point that can ever happen in man's journey. Not a journey, but journey from life to life. There is no greater beauty than what you are going to see now. I know K point is very beautiful, but this is the greatest beauty. When all the sanskars have gone, without doing any sadhana, you get a glimpse of the Atma, those 1,000 suns inside. And we close our eyes, we go into a dream, we don't want to see it. And we must train ourselves for that 1 hour that we want to see it. Now I'll go into this 1 hour a little later. We'll go back a little. Because like our brains are digital, so I can't say everything at one shot. Right? So, but just remember, after the person has died, please don't shift his body for 1 hour. His or her body for 1 hour. One person remain in the room and try to guide him through this whole area of light. Even if he can see it for a few moments, it's enough in that 1 hour. Right? So, nothing to hold him back. Somebody there who is capable of guiding him into that 1 hour of light. These hospitals, no, they're just waiting for one person to die so they can give the bed to somebody else. So please pay that extra money and say, for 1 hour I'm paying extra, but you allow this person to remain in the bed for 1 more hour. Now, something happens at the moment of death which is very, very important. Time reverses. Time reverses. Our whole life is like a toy that somebody's 1 day, 2nd day, 1 year, 20 years, 70 years, the key is full. 80 years, key is full. Right? And when we die, those 80 years unwind. The toy goes like this. And the 80 years, but to unwind it does not take 80 years. It does not take 70 years. To unwind it takes 3 minutes. It takes 3 minutes. If you ask an astrologer, what is the moment of birth and what is the moment of death? And the astrologer will say the moment of birth is the moment of death. What does he mean? What is he saying? What is he trying to tell us? He's telling us that there is only one door. You come in through that door, you go out through that door. So something happens in the astrological formation where that form is repeated in a certain different way. The door is there and you get out of that door. You have come through the mother's womb, you go back through the mother's womb. That means life unwinds in 3 minutes. Life unwinds in 3 minutes. The old man, he goes back in time in 3 minutes, repeats all the events of his life, comes to the moment of conception, and then the arrow is thrown out. So all of us live our life again. We live our life twice. We live our life twice. And if we can practice this every night, we keep on reliving our life. Okay, so what happens? But why can't we do anything about it? So many things we would like to change. I insulted you some days ago, but now I want to change that. I'm feeling bad about that. I want to change it. So if I could get those few days back, then I'll correct that. I don't want to do that. Right? So there's so many things in life we want to change. There's so many diseases we don't want to carry forward. We don't want everything to recur. Everything to recur in the same way as it recurred over here. But how do we practice for those 3 minutes? How do we practice? They'll be gone like this. And we'll be sleeping and we won't know what has happened. In a dream, we live a whole lifetime in 3 minutes. So if we have practiced in our dream every night, if we practiced in our dream, we have learned to work with our dreams, gone into deeper and deeper levels of dreams, then in those 3 minutes we can redo many things. It does need practice. Ouspensky has written one very, very famous book. It's called The Strange Life of Ivan Ossokin. And Ivan Ossokin was on the verge of dying. And an angel comes to him and says, Ivan, do you want your life back one more time? So he says, yes, if you can give me my life back one more time. Then what will you do? So I won't repeat the same mistakes I have done. So the angel says, okay, Ivan, take your life back. And he goes and relives his whole life. Again he comes to the point of death. The same angel comes, Ivan, did you repair those mistakes? Did you do the things properly the way you wanted to? And Ivan looks back and he says, no, I committed the same mistakes again. Nothing changes. Nothing changes unless we make that effort. We have to practice for it. It cannot just happen. Guru Hargobind Sahib, the 6th Guru of the Sikhs, he was the person who founded the city of Amritsar. And in those days, the city of Amritsar was just a few huts and it was the Guru staying over there. It was the time of the Mughal Raj. Thank you. And the Guru had one disciple. He was the Raja of one place called Saket Mandi. And this Raja, he had a habit that every year he had a practice that he would go and live with the Guru for 1 week. 1 week he would go and live with the Guru. Now this time when he was going to live with the Guru, a few days before he started getting a dream. And that dream was repeating in his life, in his every day, every night. And he's a Raja, the king of this place called Saket Mandi, and in the dream, he's dreaming he's of low caste, a Chandal. And he lives life as a Chandal, has children and grandchildren and dies. And every night he gets the same dream. So he says, when I go to meet my Guru, the first thing I'm going to ask him, why am I getting this dream? So he goes to Amritsar and he sends his man to ask for the Guru's audience. Can I meet the Guru? And the Guru says no. Next day again he sends somebody. Again the Guru says no. The third day, the Guru's man comes early in the morning to the Raja and says, the Guru is going for shikar in the jungle, he's going hunting, would you like to join him? So the Raja says, yes, I'll join the Guru. So they go hunting in the jungle. And then their ways part and the Raja is alone, lost in the forest. And there is a big river, a stream flowing, and he goes along that stream, he's on horseback. And in the distance there is one jhupri or one hut of a Chandal. And from that hut everybody comes running, my father has come back from the dead, and my grandfather has come back, and my husband has come back, and they all catch him and put him there. And they say, you have come back from the dead. So he says, I am not your father or husband or anything, I am the Raja. You please release me, let me go. So but they wouldn't listen, they kept him over there. After some time, Guru Hargobind Sahib came. And seeing the Guru, everybody did pranam to the Guru. And the Guru said, you release him. He is not your husband, he is not your father, he is not the grandfather. The one you cremated a few days ago was your husband. It is not him. He is the Raja. Then they left. And as they were going, the Guru asked him, were you able to get this, what was behind your dream? So he says, no, I couldn't understand what was behind my dream. So he says, in this life, you were supposed to be born as a Chandal, as a lower caste. But some connection with the Guru allowed you to be born as a Raja, as a king. But who is going to fulfill the karma of a Chandal? What about the unfulfilled karma? Who is going to do that? That you have fulfilled in your dream. So, this 3 minutes which we get at the point of death, if we have practiced in our dreams every night, then in those 3 minutes we can change everything. Right? And then the arrow goes out, and the first place the arrow is, it is at Swahalok, the highest stage. The Atma remains there, the spirit remains there, and the soul starts falling from there. The soul with the astral body, it starts falling. And it falls in 3 stages. Down, up, down, up, down. It falls like a bumping ball. It falls like that. The first time it is there, when it leaves the Atma, the spirit there at Swahalok, the 7th sub-stage of Swaha, Mahakal, what they call. If it is little conscious, if it is awake over there, it can see the spirit and drink the spirit, it becomes a part of the spirit. ये जो क्या थोड़ो जो जागृति होए तो ये आत्मा નું દર્શન કરી શકે એની અંદર એક રૂપ પણ થઈ શકે. It can see. Then it starts falling from there. And it is thrown back. It is thrown back. The second time again it sees the light. The second time. But this time it is not the same scene which it saw the first time. It changes a little. It changes in the sense that the first time was the clean light, second time as if there is some glass or something in between. It is not a direct darshan. The second time, some material is there in between. This material is what we call the causal body. The causal body. Right? Karan Sharir. And then it falls again and it goes back again. And this last time it does not see the light, but it sees the effect of the light. When we say okay, there is smoke, so definitely there must be fire somewhere. So it sees some characteristics as if the sun has set and there is still some twilight, which gives him that the sun was there just a few moments ago. So it doesn't see the spirit, but it sees the twilight, it sees the effect, Sandhya Yadikai, and then it comes, it leaves the Swahalok, leaves the electronic universe, and comes into Bhuvalok, the molecular universe. And then it starts a dream of 55 days. Panchavan Divas no Sapnu Chalthai. So for the first arc is the most important after death. So please try to help anyone who is on the point of dying. The first thing is nothing to hold him back over here. Second is there must be the maximum power in that arrow, maximum energy in that arrow. And third thing, for that 1 hour, try to guide. Now try to understand that the brain which understands language has not gone with him. It remains over here. He cannot understand language. He can only understand sensations, as if there's something touching him or something feeling him. Right? Second thing, he is no longer a photograph. He is no longer, he is a presence. So I can only see you if I see you in the form, but I can't feel your presence. But a mother can feel the presence of the child. I remember there was this very famous brain scientist called Harry Olson, and he's written a beautiful book called The Dark Side of the Brain. And one of his students, he was a Scottish person, his name was Thornton Streeter, and we did a few workshops together. And they had developed certain ways of seeing the etheric forms in film. And he was trying to tell me the power of Omkar. What is the power of Omkar? So he was showing me one film on Omkar. And the mother was sitting in a home, and the home was a big home with a balcony like this. And the mother was sitting in the balcony, the sitting room was down. There was a big garden outside, and the gate of the garden was there. Now it was about 4 in the afternoon, and the son was going to come from school. Now as she's doing the Omkar, the mother, the inner etheric body is expanding. Slowly it fills the whole room. It fills the garden outside. Now the son gets down from the bus. But before the son gets down from the bus, the etheric body is moving ahead and touching the gate of the garden. And the mother's aura, the inner aura of the mother, shows that she recognizes that the son has come. She has not seen the photo of the son, she has not seen his form, but she knows that the son has come. This is presence. Presence. Many mothers know that if their son is far away and if he is ill, they know that he is ill. There is some connection. There is some connection. So that person who has gone, he is not a photograph any longer. He is a presence. We have to relate to him in a different way. So you sit there, try to help him through that 1 hour. Now what is happening in these 55 days? Right? See, the thing is that to hold consciousness in those 55 days, again we come back to our dreams. We come back to dreams. And whether we can hold consciousness in the small things of life. Right? You just tell me, I forgot to bring water for you, and if I'm going to get irritated, there's a small thing I've lost consciousness. How am I going to hold consciousness over there? You get what I'm trying to say? Right? Or you say, your lecture was very good and I feel so good inside, I've lost all my consciousness. And then how am I going to hold consciousness there? Right? So we must, it's not just practicing in dreams, we must practice from morning to evening in the normal events of life to hold our consciousness whenever the dream tries to hypnotize us. Then in that dream we will be awake and we'll be able to work in that dream. We'll be able to work in that dream. Second thing is that we are deprived of a body, physical body. Now, if we have just led a life of enjoyment, forget any spirituality, just enjoy life, just led a life of enjoyment, good food and whatever, right? Comforts and luxuries and good food, and then we are so attached to the body, or maybe the excitement of sex, that we are very attached to the body, and then in that state we will try to imagine a body. Even though we don't have a body, we will try to imagine a body, and that astral form of ours will take on a shape of something like the physical body, and we will try to imagine that we are enjoying ourselves. Maybe we go to a restaurant, I don't know. And so we will not be able to experience what is happening over there. Just another daydream will go on. Right? So we may have enjoyed life, but if that enjoyment has just been of the physical body, then it is going to really be very difficult to change anything over there. Right? Second thing is that we may feel fear, because suddenly we see there is no body and all that we were attached to was the body, so we may feel fear over there. Of course, such a person in that Swahalok will not be able to do anything because their speeds will be so fast. The question of even imagining a body is not possible over there, and he'll be totally lost. He's just going to sleep. He will not see the light. Now these 55 days are very important. Different religions have come up with different times. I'm just giving you something for thought over here. This is the way which my guru has taught me. The Tibetans call it 49 plus 7 days. So they call it 56 days. So we have just taken a sort of mean, 45 plus 10 days, 55 days. Now, just as in the last moments of death, we lived our life in reverse, from old age to young age, in reverse time, in 3 minutes. Similarly, the soul lives its life in 45 days. The soul lives its life. And this is the life of experience, not the life of events. Try to understand what this means. Supposing I look back at my life, say it's 56 years, so there will be 2 lines running parallel from 0 to 56. One is the line of time which tells me the events of my life. When I was young, I fell down, or when I was this old, my teacher hit me, whatever. The events of my life. Right? So from 0 to 56, I have a picture book, a photographic book, an album which tells me from here to here to here to here to here. This is my 56 years. But what about the album of feelings which are happening simultaneously at the same time? Right? When I was eating ice cream, I was feeling happy, but when my teacher was hitting me, I was definitely not feeling happy. Right? So what about that? That is my experiential history. Not my eventual history, not the history of events, the history of experience, what I felt each moment. In Shastra, this is called as sanskar. This is called as sanskar. Shastra is saying that there is an event. In this event, I am getting angry on you. So in the photographic album, you are there and I am getting angry on you. That is the photograph. But in the experiential album, I am giving myself an experience of anger. I am living anger. So what is recorded in the experiential? Anger. I was angry. I was living. And I gave myself the impression of anger. So that impression is always with me. That is why it is called as sanskar. Sanskar. So every moment, what sanskar am I giving to myself? I may tell her, hello, how are you? And say, you're my friend. But inside I'm saying that she's this, right? So this is just an exterior, right? But inside I'm really giving her a few bad words or something, right? So then I am living that inside. You see, I think I'm giving some galis to her, but I'm not cursing her. I am living that myself. Even though I'm saying it inside, I am living it. So that sanskar remains with me, and this is my experiential album. You get what I'm trying to say? Now, all these experiences, they come down to drops when I die, and they go into something called the time body. The soul has a time body. Of all the experiences the soul has collected, right? Through so many bodies, the soul has experienced so many things, and all those experiences are grouped together in something called a time body, Kal Sharir. I hope you're still with me. We are 1 hour and 1.5 hours into this. That's why I'm saying I hope. Right. Now in those 45 days, or if we take the Tibetans 49 days, the Tibetans say the soul passes through 7 chambers. And each chamber is divided again into 7 parts, meaning 49 parts, and it goes through 49 days. And these 49 days are the inner experiences. Okay? So this is one instance of anger. But all the anger that I did in this life becomes one drop of anger. It goes into my time body where there is a big collection of anger. And in those 49 days, one of the chambers I go into is the chamber of anger. You get what I'm trying to say? And then that anger takes on different forms. And if I'm awake there, if I practiced in my dreams every night, then when that anger comes, now this is not the anger of one life, this is the experiential history of the soul, anger of all the lives together. And suddenly, if I'm awake over there, I can be free of all of that at one shot. If I practiced every day. Similarly, all the other emotions which are binding the soul, the chains of the soul will come through in 49 different chambers, and he will pass through them. This is called as purgatory in Christian science. Purgatory. The soul is going through the flames of purgatory. Right? So he'll go through all this, and each and every negative emotion, everything that is binding the soul will suddenly come up in dream-like symbology, dream-like pictures, and now he has a time to be free of everything. He's passing through this. But if, like in the dream of the night dream, if we are totally hypnotized by the dream, we think the dream is real, we will not be able to do anything there in those 45 days. Now, if a person has died already, then we want to help that person. who is gone. Actually, in the last month, a lot of friends have died. And we want to help them. And so we make up a practice for 45 days for that person who has gone. And yesterday I talked about the repetition of form, how the Father's form repeats in the Son. And it is the Son's duty. The Son's duty. That does not mean the daughter cannot do it. She can also do it, the wife can also do it, the father, whatever. But it is, I'm just adding this, that it is the Son's duty if he wants to balance accounts. If he wants to balance the accounts, he must do this for his father who has gone in this 45 days. This will be more effective than any puja, any ceremony, anything you do. This will be the most effective thing you can do. But remember to call Guruji for the puja. Sit every day for 5 minutes. Now 5 minutes of cellular time is a very long time in molecular time. Bhulokna 5 minutes is very big of Bhuvalok, right? So 5 minutes is a long time, so don't worry, only 5 minutes. It's a big thing, 5 minutes. Do it intensely, with intensity. Keep a photo of that person. Second thing is, keep something he or she used. Keep it over there, right? If I die, you can keep my cap. Right? Okay. Put some food. Put some food. Whatever he liked. It doesn't matter. If you can't find anything he liked, you can put some chocolate also. It doesn't matter. Put some food. And sit there and just sense him. Sense him. When that person was there in the house, there was a feeling of him. You would hear his footsteps, you would know that this the Father has come. Right? So bring that sensitivity, that feeling. The photo is there, but the photo is gone. So bring that feeling. And tell that feeling that this food is for you. This food is for you. And he's feeling hungry over there. He's feeling hungry, but there you're not allowed to do chori, not allowed to rob, right? If I'm passing your kitchen and you're looking that way, I can pick up something and eat it up over there. In this world, chori is allowed, but that world is not allowed. So you have to say that this food is for you. So he will come to eat it. Especially in the first 13 days, he's going to come. In the first 13 days. Right? So he's going to come to eat that food. Don't think that he's going to eat it, so it will become 5 grams less or something. Right? But he takes the smell of that food, smell reaches him, and in that smell his hunger is satisfied. His hunger is satisfied. See, he's feeling hungry over there. He doesn't have a stomach, so he can't eat food. But that does not say he's not feeling hungry. So just the smell of the food will satisfy his hunger. Then we tell him that you are passing through a phase where you can change everything. So don't worry about anything else. Be free from here. Here everything is totally alright. Nobody is sad or anything. Everybody is happy. So nothing to pull you back over here. Then we say that whatever you're seeing is from your own mind. It is not coming from anywhere else. It is your own. If you're seeing a monster, if you're seeing a snake, if you're seeing a tiger, if you're seeing a dragon, whatever you're seeing, it is your own sanskars which are taking these forms, your own patterns which are taking, your own memories which are taking these forms. So just say that this can change. Now always remember, in a dream, change happens automatically. If I want to meet you, it takes days to get an appointment with you. Right? But in a dream, I think of you, before the thinking is over, you are there. Similarly, in that state, if he says, okay, this pattern should go away, it will go away immediately, however fearful it is there. Right? So you have to tell him that this is a good chance to be free of these patterns. Please tell these patterns to go away. Then you have to tell him that the Guru is standing next to you. Now, many people will say, we did not have a Guru and he did not have a Guru. It has nothing to do with that. The Guru is always there, always, for whoever. The Guru is always there. The only thing is you have to ask for his help. The rule is that he will not help without asking. So you have to tell him that if you don't understand anything, please, the Guru is standing next to you, please ask for his help. The minute he asks for his help, he will be shown the way. And this we have to do every day for 45 days. For 45 days. The last thing we will say is that please give me some indication that what all I have said has reached you. And in the first 13 days, you will get a very strong indication. The photo will be in front of you. Suddenly you will feel the photo is going like this or something. Or you will feel some ant is crawling up your backbone, or some blast of wind has come, or something has pinched you, and you will know that that has reached. Then you have to repeat the same thing the next day. And this should go on for 45 days. For us, because we are hearing this and getting this knowledge firsthand, we start practicing from tonight. We are not dependent on anyone else putting the food for us. Right? We start practicing from tonight. And I took that lecture on Dream Yoga, so I am not repeating that whole process now. Right? On how to enter into the dream and how to work with the dream. Okay. But if you all want, we'll talk about it some other day, because we'll take one full talk to talk about it. Now 45 days are over. Then comes the time for the new birth. The new birth. So for the next 10 days we will add something to that person. And we will tell him that now the time has come for being born again. Now we are talking about an ordinary person. A yogi or someone who has practiced very hard may remain in the light only for 45 days. He may not come down only. So we are talking about a normal, ordinary person like us. Right? Now, so we have to say the time has come and nature is going to play a trick over here. Nature is very clever. She loves playing tricks. She will wake up that person for some time and say, now you decide, you take a birth. Right? And he'll be awake a little, he won't know what is happening over there. And he will see a film, like we see a film on TV. Right? But this film will be not like the exact pictures of the TV, it will be more like negatives. More like negatives. There will be blurred images. And in that he will see couples having sex. And now he has to decide where, and nature will play the trick that you decide where you want to be born. This, we don't know that we have chosen our mother and father. They have not chosen us. Of course, in my Guru's case it was different. He said that I chose my daughter, I chose my son. That is different. But otherwise, in normal circumstances, the child has nothing to complain against the parents because the child has chosen the parents. But nature plays that trick over there, wakes you up from deep sleep and says, now choose, and we choose and gone. Right? So he'll see this film of couples having sex. Now, each couple, when they are having sex, there is a gravitational pull. Each womb has a gravitational pull. And you have to say in those last 10 days that you will see this film of couples having sex. If any couple is automatically pulling you, please say stop, I don't want to go here. Please say stop. It is like you have to close the door, that picture will go away. Second thing you have to add is that if, like you can press the button on the TV and the picture stops, similarly you can say I want to see this picture, you have to ask it to stop. So many things about that couple will start getting clear. Many things will start, so we'll know who is this person, what it is, so it will be easier to decide, right? The third thing you have to tell him is that in any couple, if you see that sex is too passionate, too animal-like, immediately close that scene. We don't want to be born over here. The fourth thing you have to say is that we still have many desires, so we may choose a couple where there is more comfort, more luxury, right? Don't go just with your desires, go for your growth, inner growth, right? Where there is a more possibility of inner growth. And the last thing we say, if you cannot decide, the Guru is next to you, ask him, he will decide for you, right? So this we add in the last 10 days. Around the 55th day, everything is over. We don't keep too many photographs of that person, only one photograph for our memory, the rest of the photographs put in the album and put in the cupboard, right? And then what we do is worship. You do the one that worship, go to the river, say this is the Tarpan, this is the end of the matter, he is on his journey, I am on my journey, and it is over. Call all your friends, and have a big celebration, have a party, and that's it. Right? Okay. Now, we go a little ahead. Now, in the mother's womb, what is happening? Now, he's chosen the parents, and something is happening in the mother's womb. The male cell and the female cell have met, and this child is being formed in the mother's womb, and it is progressing at geometric progression. One cell goes to 2 cells go to 4 cells. In 9 months the child is. See, time is moving very, very fast in the mother's womb. The amount of things that happen in a mother's womb does not happen in the rest of our lives. Time is moving so fast. Time cheats us. Time really cheats us. We feel that 1 hour of childhood is equal to 1 hour of old age. It's not true. Mathematically they are equal. But in 1 hour of childhood we can do much more than what we can do in old age. As we grow older, at the end of the day we have done nothing, still we feel, there was no time to do anything. Time slows down as death comes closer, right? So in the mother's womb, everything is moving in a different dimension of time. Things are moving very, very fast. Now, 2 things are being formed in the mother's womb at the same time. One is the physical body and one is the astral body. The astral body is ready at the 7th month. Is ready at the 7th month. So at the 7th month, the old astral, which is moving around the mother for 7 months, which holds the soul, it is holding the soul, that old astral. It has all the memory patterns, all the sanskars. It wants to pass it down to the new astral. That is why at the 7th month we do a sanskar vidhi, that this passing on should happen very easily. Right? We do a sanskar vidhi at the 7th month. So the old astral is passing on all those sanskars around the 7th month. Around the 7th month, when that is happening, the mother feels that the child is moving in the womb. After that, the old astral goes somewhere and it disintegrates. It destroys itself. Right? And the soul is with a new astral, a new body of memory, a new time body. Right? And it comes to the point of birth, but the Atma is still sitting in Mahakal, in the 7th substage of Swahalok. The Atma is still sitting over there. And as the child is born, the fire of life has to be given to the child. The Atma comes in through Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, makes the spark, and the child cries, and the Atma enters at that time, and the child is born. It's a living child. Now, for some reason which we don't want to go into, but for some reason, if the old astral decides that I don't want to disintegrate, some very, very deep desire remains in that old astral which does not allow it to disintegrate, then the child will be still born, or it may die immediately on being born, because the old astral has not disintegrated, and in place of that, the new astral has to disintegrate. It dies. Right? Then a new cycle starts from there. Right? So, this in a nutshell, very short. Maybe someday, if we meet in some other time, then I will talk about all the 49 days. I'm writing my notes on them. I've not really come to a stage where I've been able to sit down for 2-3 months and write what happens in each of these 49 days. It is there in the Tibetan Book of Death, but I think that book has been plagiarized. I'm not very authentic on that book. You can read it in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I'm not very authentic, so I want to write it on my own. If there are any questions, if anyone wants to ask about this, but I just wanted to give you a brief outline of what is death, how powerful the energy of death is. It is one experience that happens, it is a culmination of a lifetime, and it is one experience, if we do it properly, it can not only bring about a great transformation, but also a transmutation. Something new can come out of it. Okay, so I'll stop over here. If there are any questions, I'll take them.
The 7th month before it transfers. When the child is born prematurely before the 7th month, what happens?
Something remains incomplete in the astral. I don't really know what happens, but something must be remaining incomplete in that child in the astral. The transfer has to happen. Like, you'll say about 3 minutes, but what happens to a person who dies in an accident? Right? Similarly, the process goes on, the same process. Because after all, a premature child is being saved by science. It's the incubator and all. So, we are definitely giving him something to replace that which he is missing. So again, the same rules will continue. Yes.
Why does one cremate the body in and with other religions it is?
See, every stick has two ends. The Hindus want you cremate the body so that person knows that everything is over and he goes on his journey. In the others, there's a little bit of compassion that if he sees that the body is still there, then maybe, he doesn't feel, there's not that big shock which comes to him. Both have their, pros and cons. In the end, it doesn't matter. In the end, it doesn't matter. To a person who knows, I think today's brain, it doesn't matter whether you burn or bury, the brain knows what is death, is ready to accept death and move ahead. It doesn't really matter.
The sound or like the word or a first particular,
you feel solution.
That is what I said, that if there is a deep desire remaining in the astral, it goes into a separate cycle. It goes into a separate cycle. See, I don't know if you've heard of homeopathy. Homeopathy's founder was a doctor called Hahnemann. Hahnemann lived in Germany, and one of Hahnemann's chief students was a person called Schussler. And Schussler came out with biochemistry, the medicine of the 12 salts. Now, in India, there was a biochemistry much before, but it's lost, Schussler, because it was connected with the science of breathing, right? Swarnani Shastra. And in India, they had found not 12 salts like Schussler had found 12 salts, they had found 24 salts. And 12 salts in normal person. But a person who is moving on the spiritual path will get some extra salts. Because those salts are needed to hold consciousness in the physical form. Similarly, those 12 salts had 6 which would hold positive traits and 6 which would hold negative traits. Now, when a person has that very, very powerful negativity, it goes on after death. So it goes into another cycle till those salts dissolve. It is a new pattern. I'll just give one small example. Say suicide. Now, suicide is a very, very strong pattern. And it can force that person to commit suicide for the next 6 more lifetimes. It can force that person. Accident. A big accident could be a very strong pattern. Right? So all these are because of some negative salts which have come into the system. Yes, sir.
Is there an exact period between the death and the rebirth? And would it be the same for each and every person?
Nearly the same. Nearly the same.
Quality of the life?
Yeah, nearly the same. But then again, if you say my guru, he would tell me that my last life was 700 years ago. But in normal cases, we take 55 days. In normal cases, we take 55 days. Yeah.
Maybe something unrelated.
Yeah.
Broken heart syndrome. We said that, in many cases, the one spouse dies, soon after the other dies, because his immune system gives in.
It's possible, maybe, because things are connected. I have seen of this age a very famous guru, and he had someone who was looking after him all the time. And she died, and within a month he died. So even at that state of consciousness, the body may have had some attunement with some other person. And something, when that person dies, normally also when our relatives die, something within us dies at the same time. And that person, when he or she dies, she pulls, you see, we have been related to that person over so many years. Right? So there's an exchange of prana in all the incidents that we have taken place between him and her, or him and him, or whatever. Right? And that exchange of prana is there in all those incidents. Now at the point of death, he is going to pull all his prana back. Right? Because he needs that prana. And he's going to pull it all back. So all the people who are related to that person will feel that pulling in. And if somebody is very deeply related, it's possible that it's pulled and it's a shock, so which allows the physical to die after some time. મનુષ્ય જ મળે ને કેવી રીતે
બીજી યોનિમાં જન્મ
શક્ય નથી. મનુષ્ય સેલ્ફ કોન્શિયસનેસ સાથે આવે એટલે પછી એવી યોનિમાં ન જઈ શકે જેમાં સેલ્ફ કોન્શિયસનેસ ન હોય. બીજી બધી યોનિમાં સેલ્ફ કોન્શિયસનેસ નથી, ખાલી મનુષ્યમાં જ સેલ્ફ. એટલે એવોલ્યુશન has automatically brought us up to that point of self consciousness. પછી you cannot go back. એ બની શકે કે આપણે પશુ જેવા જીવીએ એ જુદી વાત છે. પશુની યોની ન મળે પણ કદાચ એવો જીવન મળે પશુ જેવું, પણ પશુની યોની ન મળે.
Two questions.
Yeah.
At the point of death, you go to Swarnaloka. Do you pause? Is that the thousand petal of light?
That is the Atma, God. That is God. The soul meets God. And because there is no sanskars, they have suddenly dissolved. And they are going to go back into a liquid form, what we call as Dronacharya. Into a liquid form. And that child is born in that the sanskars are still liquid. That as the mother and father and education and society keep giving water to serve, they start again forming. He has come with them, but they're still in a very liquid form. So that light can be seen at that time. There's nothing covering that light at that time. Right?
Is there a conversation that you can have? Or is it just...
It's light. Just light. And there's merging. Who's going to have a conversation? Right? The source of light and the light are merging. That is why I first gave the example. If this is in my body, then what conversation am I going to have with it? Right? Of course, in my body, I can tell my kidney or my liver, hey, if you're not feeling well, get well soon. But that's different. But that's why I give it that it's a body of light, and everything is within that body of light. And the light has a source. That source is the Atma. So the light for the first time is able to see the source from which it has come. The light is here, I am looking at you, the light is looking at you. It is attention. It is that same light which is looking at you, which you are looking at me. It is attention. Right? But you don't know just now where this attention has come from. You will say it is a faculty of the mind, it is this, it is that. Right? But at that time you will know, oh, it was this attention which gave my eyes the power to see. Yeah.
The question is, you say you can call on the help of the Guru. Where does this Guru come from? Is he the same for everybody that dies, or is it different Gurus for different?
No. There is a... The Guru is a form. The Guru is a form. The form is what? Of compassion. Compassion means to help. To help. He wants to uplift. I have to go into something else to explain this. Are you willing to say? I don't mind, but otherwise. See, everything in the universe is evolving, is moving on some great journey. Great journey. You remind me, one day we will talk a little bit about Jupiter. What is Jupiter? Guru Itesu. Guru, because we are talking about the Guru just now, and where that energy is coming from. Now, there are two cycles happening at the same time, involution and evolution. In nature there is involution. Involution in the sense that nature wants more and more parts of the universe to become alive, where there is no life. So she's involving, taking energies on a downward journey to give it to where there is no life. In individual there is evolution. Individual, there is evolution. Nature's evolution is still individual. In animal there is no individual, there is a universal mind in the animal. One animal cannot decide what he wants. It has to be common for all the animals. So there is no individual mind in the animal. In man there is an individual mind. He decides, I don't go to work today. You see? Or I resign this job, I take another job. And some may say, I divorce this wife, I take another wife, right? Whatever. A man has an individual mind. And it is this which distinguishes him. Now, that also comes with a different responsibility, that now nature is not going to help him in evolving. He has to evolve for his own self. Similarly, the earth is also evolving. The sun is also evolving. Now, in us, a certain energy is being transformed. That we eat food from the sun, and we take that energy and we throw it out as anger, as jealousy or whatever. Nature takes that energy, gives it to parts of the universe which don't have life, and life comes there. But the sun is also evolving, and the sun wants to go further. So the sun has put within us something that we can evolve. And in our evolution, if I say I won't get angry, I'm not going to give my energy to nature, and in that not getting angry, I get energy from nature, I am uplifted. Then the sun is also uplifted at the same time, because in my evolution is the sun's evolution, is the earth's evolution. They are individual evolution. You get what I'm trying to connect it. The sun has a lifetime, we can't imagine what lifetime, but we have a lifetime of 70 years. So that energy of the sun, which is allowing us to evolve, is always there. It is always there. That is the Guru. It is the Guru. And it moves through this planet called Guru. The Guru, the outer form of the Guru, my Guru was this, and this Guru was that, and that Guru was that. The outer form is nothing but that. It is the solar energy, the solar form, right? The light. The Guru wants to give the disciple the way to reach to that light. But that light wants the disciple to reach whether the Guru is there or not there. And it will take some form in that form and help the... So it is always present over there. And this present Guru we have, because we get too attached to the physical body. Too attached to the physical. There's so much love in the Guru that we get attached to that, and we miss everything, the way he sat, the way he ate his food, the way we talked to him and all that, and we forget that he's just a form of something else, something higher. That is always there, whether the body is there or not there. So the Guru is always there to help. The sun wants to help, and the sun, through the planet Jupiter, it will send the vibrations, but you have to ask for it. The sun cannot interfere in the work of nature. Nature wants all that energy for her purpose, so he cannot. But if you ask for it, he will help, and the Guru will be there. It's a very long thing. One day I would like to go into all this. What is creation, and what is the sun, and what are the planets, and all that. Time is also limited, and life is also limited.
We do 7 and after the break we do 4 days Sutta Kare, Sawa Mehina Lagan Kare, 6 Mehina Lagan Kare. So Varsi Vare De 6 Mehina Lagan Kare Saka Ke have to wait for
55 દિવસ પછી વાણી લેવાની. કઈ જરૂર નથી. See, all these laws had a science behind. હવે સાયન્સ ભૂલી ગયા અને લોની જબરજસ્તી રાખી દીધી. પોઈન્ટ પકડાય છે. તમે સાયન્સ સમજી જાઓ. હવે જો સાયન્સ શોર્ટકટથી થઈ જતું હોય તો લોની જરૂર નથી. એટલે તમને આ આખું પ્રોગ્રામ આપ્યું કે ભાઈ તમે આ 5 મિનિટમાં કરો તો જેટલી પૂજા કરશો એનાથી વધારે ત્યાં પહોંચી જશે. છેલ્લે તો જે તમે પૂજા કરો છો એ ત્યાં પહોંચવા માટે છે. હવે બ્રાહ્મણે સૂતા સૂતા પૂજા કરે ને આપણે સૂતા હોય ખબર નહીં. અને પછી અડધેથી આપણે કંટાળો આવે કે જલ્દી પતાવો ને ભાઈ. સો ઇન્ટેન્સલી આપણે 5 મિનિટ કરીએ ને એમાં બધું પહોંચી જાય. એટલે બીજા સાયન્સ સમજી લે કે આ છે આ રીતે એ સમજીને કરી લે. પણ બ્રાહ્મણને દક્ષિણા આપજો.
Under what circumstances is the reincarnation cycle broken?
Only by choice. Only by choice. If there are no desires which force us into, I won't call it reincarnation, I'll call it recurrence. Recurrence. Reincarnation is a different thing. Reincarnation is when we come back not as the same person, as something totally different. Otherwise the same thing repeats. The same desires lead us to the same life again. The same quality of life.
Bharu and caring that we do.
Yeah.
Why is it only for us and not for the other religions? Why are we different in our beliefs?
Not all religions have gone into the science of the astral. The ones which went very deep into it were the Tibetans. That is why they have the practice of bardo. But we went into it in a different way. So in place of bardo, we have bardo, right? Where we read the Gita or we do something, or we read the Garud Puran or something, and the vibrations of the Garud Puran touch that person, and he gets a feeling of where he is going and what he has to do. Right? So there was a science in that. Because each slok, each word of the Garud Puran creates a certain vibration. Whilst in other religions, they did not go so much into the science of the afterlife. And maybe it was because of the condition they were in. And it's not that all of them have not gone. Many of them have gone, but a lot of it was kept secret. It was not allowed to be shown to the general public. So, in most of the religions, you will see that there is an outer form and there is an inner form which has been kept secret from the general this thing. Whilst in our this thing, the rishis just openly put all this down. But they were sitting at such a high level of truth that where we were sitting, it was sometimes very difficult to understand what they were saying. So we just put it into a kind of ritual, a practice. But I suppose in other religions, as far as I know, my studies say it is there in all the religions, but it has been kept hidden.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
From my experience, lots of people who've passed on, at the moment of passing, will say that somebody who has passed on already is there with them. It's like a mother who's passed, or a grandfather, or a loved one.
It's possible because
how, especially in light of the process and I suppose rebirth, how is it possible that somebody who ought to have taken on a different form?
Somebody has already taken a different form, it will come back in your dream.
Is it a dream then? When
It is a dream.
Is passing?
It is. See, you'll have to understand time. I can't see your face, but I hope you're listening. You have to understand time. How time is connected. See, there's a line of time from birth to death. And these lines of time go to make something called a plane of time. And in that plane of time, everything is connected. So, I may say my father is no longer there. He has taken some other form. But in my dream, my father may come back to me and talk to me. You get what I'm trying to say? So, where is it coming from? But all that which happened between me and my father is lying somewhere in my time and in his time. I don't know if I'm coming across. It is lying somewhere in that eternal time. And when I'm sleeping, if the unconscious opens up, then something from that will take some form, and I'll see it's the form of my father. It is not my father who has come. It has come from within my unconscious mind, because that time is lying over there. And I may talk to him. And the talk may seem as if the Guru has really given me some advice, or it may be something of the future which will happen also tomorrow. And that is the interconnection of time. Right? I think if one day we have a board here, I'll explain what time is. But what I'm trying to say is that these times are interconnected. And like we see it in a dream, at the point of death, I may see some of my, because I'm going into a dream again. I'm going to a dream again. I don't know. I'm going to answer the question.
You said when I asked a question about, you read the Guru Quran, the person dies in the first 12 days, and the vibration of the person. What if you can't read it in that sacred text? You can't, read it in that Sanskrit or Gujarati. What do you do that?
That is why I gave you this 5-minute thing. There's no need to do anything else. There's no need. Now, the brain today understands presence. Understands, okay, that I see a photo, but I also feel a presence. And it can separate these two things. The brain even 100 years ago could not do this. We would not understand this language. You would be surprised. We were in New Zealand for 2 months. And not a reflection, but there have been families who have migrated to New Zealand 150 years ago, 100 years ago. And if you want to see what was India in the villages 150 years ago, go to New Zealand. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Just the outer form has changed. The house is good, the cars are good. Nothing has changed. So, even 100 years ago, this brain would not have understood this language. Now the brain understands, okay, feeling can be separated. Now, if I can go into that feeling directly, then why do I need the Garud Puran? I can directly send whatever message I want. It's the subtlety of the brain, yes.
Nothing has changed. Is that good or bad? Nothing has changed, you say, in the Islamic in New Zealand. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it is a point where we are going to invite pain. Because one generation now, which is growing up in New Zealand, is suddenly going to change. And this generation is not going to accept what this is doing. And if there could have been a progressive change. And the same thing is happening in India today. For so many years we never saw these malls and all these shops and all that, and all this. And suddenly this influx of luxury and beautiful things and so many movies and computers, that nobody is interested in spirituality. Nobody's interested. And we can't blame them. We can't blame them because I have been deprived of all this for so many years. Till I get a frustration out of them, we must feel frustrated to go to spirituality. There must be some frustration, no? That, okay, I mean, how much more happiness can I get out of this? Then that point will come when we start going. And now, is there something which gives happiness which is not dependent on all this? But today in India, it's a sudden explosion of materialism. I'm not saying it is wrong. I'm not saying it is wrong, but it will take some time to lead to dissatisfaction.
Is there any substance to some popular programs that one sees in TV, etc., about people who can communicate with those who have passed on?
I've just given it to you in 5 minutes. Yeah, so present.
Is that possible and real?
See, I'm very skeptical about all what has been written and which is being shown. Because whatever experiments I have done, I have seen that anybody can come taking anyone's name. It's free for all. So you may have a Ouija board or do something, or you may have a planchette or do something. And it is anyone, it's free for all. Anybody can say, I am this person. And because there is a merging of time, there is a merging of the unconscious minds. From my mind, you read something and say, this is what happened between you and me. So don't go into all that. Don't go into all that.
Will you be talking about reincarnation?
Reincarnation in what sense?
I'm just interested in it. If something asked about it earlier on, I'm just curious to know if it's one of the topics that you...
Reincarnation in the sense of not recurrence. I'll try and touch on it one of these days. What is reincarnation and what is recurrence? What is recurrence?
What are the chances of Hinduism surviving in India?
Sir, everything is in the melting pot. Not just Hinduism. Everything is in the melting pot. And at some point of time, everything will have to change. The truth cannot change. The truth cannot change, but the form the truth will take will have to change. It is in our hands whether that change will come through suffering or that change will be easy. If we hold on to our past, that we are obstinate about it, we are not willing to change, then it will come through suffering. But in nature it's already written that the change has to come. And when everything is in the melting pot, it is, when you're making popcorn, one popcorn, for the first one you have to wait a lot of time, and then they all start, one after the other, exploding inside. Similar is now, we can call it the popcorn effect. It's the time when all the popcorns can start exploding. You just do a little bit of work inside of yourself and you'll be free. Because we are on a great turning point, everything is in the melting pot.
Before there was maybe 100 million people, then a billion, now 7 billion.
See, just take the state of the brain. If there are 16,000 million cells in the brain, there must be so many galaxies. And if there are 100 million neurons, then there must be 100 million life-bearing planets. What kind of life we don't know. Right? If you take the same law, as below, so above, or take the same law, then there is something, you will get some understanding. And there are cycles of involution and evolution. And if you want, I would suggest you read my Guru's book, The Purpose of Birth and Death. He has gone very deep into all this.
રાજનભાઈ 184 ના ફેરા એ શું કે
અત્યારે આપણી અંદર જ છે 84 અંદર જ છે આપણી અંદર જે કોન્શિયસનેસ આવેલું છે જે ભાન આવેલું છે જેને આપણે ભાન કહીએ છીએ કે હું આ વાંચું છું અને મને ભાન છે કે આ વાંચું છું આ જે ભાન આપણી અંદર આવ્યું છે એ 84 લાખ ફેરા કરીને આવ્યું છે એટલે એ બહુ પવિત્ર છે એ બહુ વેલ્યુએબલ છે એ ભાનનું આપણે શું કરીએ છીએ એ ભાનનો વિકાસ કરીએ છીએ કે એને ઊંઘમાં જવા દઈએ છીએ એ આપણી હાથની વાત છે પણ એ ફેરા કરીને જ આવ્યું છે આપણી પાસે ફેરા કર્યા વગર ભાન નથી આવતું
dies and we do this prayer and we oxygen food. Let's say that we don't oxygen food, then we stay hungry. So,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the number of times I haven't done something like that, but that kind of consciousness.
Yeah, but from today. From today.
But at night, when we make a food offering to the deity,
because the deity you have done Pran Pratishtha. Now there is a science involved. You're saying that this is not just a marble form. When I have put this marble form in, I have put Pran inside it. Right? And that Pran follows the principles of the Tan Mantras. And smell is one of the Tan Mantras. So when you offer that, you see, you want to hold the Pran into this form because it's not just us. When we die also, our children will come here. And then their children will also come here. So you don't want this statue to die. So you offer the food every day so that inner Pran remains alive. So there's a relationship between the smell. There is the science of murti, what they call, or form, the science of form. And that is why he'll come and he'll do a puja, he'll offer a food, and and there's an interchange of prana. You're adding to the prana every day, like you go every day to the bank and you deposit 10 rupees, and over a period of time it increases. Similarly, some law applies over here. Now don't tell me ask me what is pran pratishtha. Yeah, please.
Over the years I've been reading that behind the third chakra, the Vishnu chakra, the yogis get a drop of nectar, which enables them to not eat food. What kind of nectar is it? Is it a physical thing or another symbolic thing? And what does it taste like, feel like, look like? I want that.
You want to know that, or you want the nectar?
I don't want to say it. I may want it.
I was telling him it's time for me to go home. No, I'll try and explain it now. I would like to explain some other time, then I can go into a little detail, but anyway, I'll just try and explain it in a certain way. You see, there is a rotation of prana. There is a rotation of prana. The sex energy that we know of, or which we experience in our life, is prone to excitement. So, we only know about hot sex energy. We don't know what is cold sex energy. Now the yogi, he learns to make his sex energy very cold. So nothing can excite that sex energy. And then he lifts it through these channels up over here, and it comes back down through this nadi, through an opening over here. There are different chakras over here, many small chakras, and different brains, they do different functions. Now one of the very, very powerful chakras over here is a very small chakra, it is called as Lanan. It is a very mystic chakra. And when he takes his tongue up from here, it is called the Khechri Mudra. He takes his tongue and he turns that chakra upside down. And when he's rotating this sex energy, cold sex energy, it comes here, it touches that chakra, and that chakra puts in a kind of sweetness in it. So when the energy starts moving down, he feels the sweetness in his tongue because he has used the tongue to turn that chakra upside down. Right? This is a very, very mystic process. Very mystic process. And it cannot be done by anyone and everyone. Right? To work with the energy. But I can give you a simple exercise, a very, very simple exercise. How old are you? No. Huh? 50. Okay. So if you're going to do this, if you take your two thumbs like this and put it on your navel, standing up, but not just like this, and you keep your hands like this, and this little finger where they touch over here is the place where the ovaries are. Place where the ovaries are. Now you take a chair and sit on the edge of the chair. Now first you get up and go like this, and you say the ovaries are over here. Hold that point and sit down and just sense the point inside and take your hands away. Now you breathe in and you say you're lifting the ovaries. You breathe out, you're relaxing the ovaries. Again you go, breathe in, you're lifting the ovaries. Again. Initially you will not get any feeling. So to just give a little feeling, you can just slightly pull in the lower abdomen and release it. Breathe in, pull in. If you go with the music, the rhythmic breathing, it will be easier. After about a month or so, suddenly you will feel that you are controlling your ovaries. They are moving up and moving down again. Do this for 6 months and go and have a sonography. Go and have a sonography. Let the doctor take it. And if you have done a sonography before, you just ask the doctor, what is the difference in my uterus in this sonography and in this sonography? He'll tell you that something different is there. That means that the sex energy has changed. You see, now this is a practice. What I'm trying to say, that these are all very deep practices which a person does, but it is not necessary to do all that. That is why we have put everything in simple exercises, that you do this much. But that does not mean yoga does not have deeper practice. It has many practices. And in that, when they rotate the energy, the sex energy, it comes back over you and it brings sweetness over you. Not only it brings sweetness, but it brings a kind of fulfillment also. Right? So you can try this one experiment. When a girl goes into adolescence, and the gynecologist say that within the uterus a kind of ring is formed, the ring of adolescence. She's now entering from a young girl, she's becoming a woman. Right? Similarly, if you do this properly over 6 months and you go to your doctor and say, what have you done? You're again, the uterus is becoming young again. Big transformation is happening at the energy level. So these are simple exercises which can help. Anyway, I think, actually I teach this to the young students who come into my classes, these exercises, because, you know, like how crazy we are. We always think 20 years and 30 years and 100 years later. Like he asked a question about Hinduism, but I cannot talk about Hinduism. What I see in India 70 years from now. But when these children come, I see them 20 years later and I say, oh, they have period problems and they have this problems and that problems, and in the period there's pain and there's extra bleeding and this and that and all that. And I say, I don't want these girls to have all these problems, so I teach them this exercise and I make them do this exercise. Right? And if you can teach young girls to do this exercise and they master this, they'll never have any woman problems throughout their life. No pain in periods, no cramps, no extra bleeding, no fibroids, nothing. This simple exercise. Okay, I think we'll end here. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna. Good night.